Make your selection now.
Capitalism is brilliant. Some people disagree with that statement, but those people can't afford Amazon Prime, so their opinions can be safely disregarded. DuckTales is a Disney cartoon series that premiered in 1987, which was objectively the best year for anything to be born, and stars a Scottish duck named Scrooge McDuck. If I say duck 2 more times, there's 46 ducks in this ducked up rhyme. It got a reboot in 2017, where the main character was voiced by the best Doctor Who.
What?
And if you'd like to argue that, I invite you to join the comments section, where you can all be wrong together. This was interesting because a lot of people didn't know David Tennant is Scottish, since nobody ever wants him to do his real accent, which is a bit sad.
What?
Anyway, the original DuckTales game was made by Capcom, who you might know from such classics as Final Fight Streetwise, Gold Medal Challenge, and of course the world famous Spawn in the Demon's Hand. What you might not know is that Capcom are quite good at platformers, especially in the 80s, having made a niche series many years ago called Mega Man, about a man whose name is Megan. They used this expertise to create several Disney licensed games, although they didn't have the license when it came to the very excellent Gargoyles, which is a shame because Gargoyles deserve better. #Justice for Gargoyles. There are 5 stages to visit that you can go to in any order you like, although not really, but more on that later. And there's probably a plot, but it's a platformer, so who cares? Given that Scrooge McDuck is, I think, canonically the richest character in all of Disney, it's probably about rushing around the world to shut down trade unions and abolish workers' rights. If you can't tell, I'm delaying talking about the actual gameplay, because there's not a lot to go over. Not that that's a bad thing. It's all very speedy and moves by at a blistering pace, so much so that I can complete the game in about 15 minutes. It flies along like the wind, because as they say, life is like a hurricane. And so is this game. For the sake of perspective, my entire raw playthrough for this video is 17.5 minutes, and I paused on the title screen to capture the music, whereas there's a YouTube video where some guy calls this game overrated that runs for over 20. So, you can jump, or you can jump, except this other jump drills the edge of your cane into the heads of any protesting employees, or endangered species, or zombie skeletons, or slugs, or whatever else is in the way. This might look familiar if you've played Shovel Knight, because it's literally the same mechanic, but when your channel's called ShovelWareHouse, you'll try and find any excuse to work in a shovel reference. Believe it or not, there are people out there in the world, right now, who struggle with the pogo jump mechanic. They claim that having to hold down in mid-air and then press B is far too complicated and unrefined.
What?
On a console with 2 buttons. Clearly, I must be a pro gamer. The very few mechanics are really smooth, which you'd expect from the creators of Mega Man, and in my 33 years of being alive, I've never had any problems controlling feathered Jeff Bezos, but your mileage may vary depending on whether you've got the appropriate number of fingers. There's a bunch of collectibles, which are obviously all related to precious gems, gold, and other items of monetary value, because duck money get bitches, and there are multiple endings determined by whether you get some money, all the money, or no money. Although again, simple NES 2D platform and nobody cares about the plot. There's a weird design choice where one of the levels is locked and needs to be opened with a key that's hidden in one of the other levels. The game only does this once, I don't know why, and it seems really odd, as if a duck wearing a top hat but no pants is perfectly fine. A couple of the levels are incredibly open-ended, letting you explore around the place looking for secrets and hidden diamonds, but you won't see any of that in this video because I got the best ending once when I was 4 years old and decided that was enough sheer brilliance for one lifetime. I'd already mastered the pogo jump, there was nowhere to go but down. Every level has a boss at the end, which Scrooge has to mercilessly murder because there's only room for one boss in the Disney hierarchy, and god damn it, one day this duck's gonna snap and take down that smug mouse bastard for good. One of the great things about DuckTales is the presentation, which is bright and colourful, and captures the essence of a late 80s Disney cartoon perfectly. It fits alongside the soundtrack, which has some absolute bangers on, including the legendary Moon theme that you've been listening to while I've been talking, but here it is anyway. Beat the levels, embed your wooden cane in the skulls of your enemies, and meet the final boss who's a vampire because sure, why not? And then the game's over in about the length of an episode of the show. Much like the cartoon series it's based on, the DuckTales game got a complete remake in 2013. But as gorgeous as that version is, it's hard for me to recommend. They took a lot of the optional content from the original game and made it mandatory, probably because they're aware of how short the original actually is, and what was once a quick stroll through one duck's quest to murder things with a stick for profit gets bogged down in backtracking and pointless cutscenes with children, and as we all know, children are the worst. So instead, go and find the original game via whatever means you have available, and get lost in the fictional, dreamlike experience of having some disposable income. If you've enjoyed this review and would like to see more, you do need to tell me, because otherwise I'll just assume you don't care, and I'll give up making videos to go down to the local pond to feed the ducks, before I throw myself in and drown to death. Leave a like, consider subscribing, show this video to all of your friends with absolutely no context whatsoever, post it on Reddit for those epic gamer upvotes, Jesus Christ I hate myself, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.